The first time I really started thinking about failures, it's when I was learning a new program and I was desperately looking for a feature that I needed for 2 hours and I couldn't figure out how it works. Deceived and enraged, I gave up and I said, it's probably not my thing. I decided that I failed. The next day, I started thinking and I had an idea of what I could potentially do wrong. And when I started researching, I found a solution in 5 minutes. And I was like, yesterday, I was at the point of giving up, and it was like only 5 minutes away from the solution. Why did I decide that I failed? At some point, I figured out that a failure is something that we define as our personal limit that we reached. Let me give you an example. It was this time when we went to Iceland and we decided to see a volcano. It wasn't a planned trip and we didn't know how much time that exactly would take, but Google said it would take us only 2 hours. So we started walking, and the problem was that every time you reach one point, you don't really see what's going on like behind the mountain. So we didn't even know if we were going to see a volcano and how much time that would exactly take. So we walked 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and we were not even close to seeing a volcano. I asked my friend if he really thinks that we need to continue walking. Well, he said, if we go back now, I don't think that we will ever come back again. So we'll continue walking. Then I was like, tell me, what are you thinking about when you are walking? Because we were not listening to music, we're not talking. And as he had already experienced the Swiss Army, where sometimes you need to walk like 8 hours when it is 35 degrees outside, like you are in full equipment with a really heavy bag. And during 8 hours, you think about nothing. All you think about is a reward, what you're actually gonna be doing after that. Eating a nice meal or watching something. The next thing that he said that at some point it's not your physical state, it's more about your mental state. Then also, when you're walking, you don't need to look up, because when you look up at the mountains, it feels like you're not moving at all. He said you just look down and probably in 10 minutes, when you look up, you're gonna realize that you reached the point which you thought you would never reach. Also, what really helped me is to look back. Actually, like when I looked back at all of these kilometers and the distance which I saw that I have already walked, I said like, okay, I'm capable of walking more. So basically in 3 hours, we finally arrived at the place from which we could see a volcano, and it was a unique and unforgettable experience. And every time when you reach a goal, every time that you overcome your limits, you are super excited and you are super happy that you did it. Even when you know that was super hard for you, but you finally did it. So at the point when we were walking already about for 2 hours, I could have said, I cannot do it anymore. And in my head, that would be a failure. I would go back, I would find the excuses which were still right, that I was super tired, we didn't have enough water. You define your own failure, and if you're going to proceed attempting or you're going to stop here. If we take a look at my example, there are some rules that actually helped me to achieve my goal. And the first one is to divide your goal by the small ones. Sometimes you have something global that you want to achieve and you don't even know where to start. When you make it like in small ones, step by step, what you're gonna do, it seems easier. Don't look up. When you're looking at the mountain, which is super high and which is something that you really want to reach, every time when you are taking small steps, you feel like you are not moving at all. What you need to do is to look down and concentrate on the small steps that you are making every time. And when you look up, you're gonna be there. And the point is that when you are moving just like that, you need to stop thinking. Every time you think like, I cannot do it anymore or anything, you just need to stop thinking. You just need to do it. Constantly look back at your progress. You need to look back and see what distance you have already done, how many kilometers you have already walked, what you have already learned, what things you have already achieved. And that is something that is going to motivate you to move further. It's you who define what your limit is. And it's not about your physical state, it's about your mental state. Sometimes when you feel it like you're stuck, you just need to take some breaks. Probably think about something else. And the next day, you start again with a fresh mind. Whatever you are doing, if it's about learning a language, if it's about studying something, if it's about making your business, try to stick up to these rules. It's gonna help you because anyways, it's about your limits. Probably you think that you failed because you did something wrong, but it's only a failure in your head. The next day you can start over again and probably the next time you will succeed. Sometimes we're just scared of those mountains, but if you're scared, do it scared.